Holy crap, Marvel fans, there are a ton of new set photographs leaking from Captain America 4 New World Order. And these photos are dope. They confirm some awesome stuff that we've been hearing about for a long time, but some of these photos have Marvel fans quite confused. And so in this video, I want to break down all the stuff that's revealed in these set photos, especially some stuff that I think you have missed. And on top of all of that, we've got even more details and plot leaks coming out about Captain America 4 from Jeff Snyder, and I'll talk about all of that at the very end of the video. So smash a freaking like on this video and let's begin. Okay, so first up, let's go over the funeral scene. These photos are nuts, man. A lot of people have been talking about these. They did drop a couple of days ago from justjared.com, and there are a couple of key people in this scene that really do make it confusing. Number one, you have Liv Tyler coming back to the role of Betty Ross. She's seen at this funeral, and that's freaking awesome. I mean, look, she was awesome in the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie. I'm really glad to see her come back to the MCU. I think they actually have some pretty big plans for her beyond even this movie. And if you don't remember, she is, of course, the daughter of Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, the guy that Harrison Ford is now playing, as he, of course, replaces William Hurt, who passed recently. May he rest in peace. Betty Ross is also the original love interest of Bruce Banner, aka the Incredible Hulk. So this is a pretty key character for Marvel to be bringing back, and also a really interesting person to be at this funeral, but I'll come back to that in just a second. Now, the other character that I think is really interesting that not a lot of people are talking about with regards to these set photos is the actress Shira Haas, who is playing Sabra. Now, Sabra in the comics is actually a super soldier hero from Israel, and the character, frankly, has a weird checkered past in comic books. Marvel has already come out and said they're doing new things with this character and sort of updating the character for a quote-unquote modern audience. But regardless of that, I'm being told this character is going to have a huge role in the movie. She's actually going to be a part of Sam Wilson's team. I don't actually know if she's still going to be a super soldier. I assume she will be, maybe at a lesser degree than some of the other characters that we're going to see in this film. But what's important is that she's going to be something like a Black Widow type of spy character that's going to fill that role on Sam Wilson's team. And I think even the fact that Sam Wilson is going to have a team is really interesting. We know he's going to have his own Falcon. Now he's kind of going to have his own version of Black Widow as well. And I think we can assume that since the Sokovia Accords were revoked, that Sam's going to do this without government oversight. So it's pretty interesting that that character is at this funeral as well. And we, of course, see Sam Wilson, Captain America himself, at the funeral, and he's in a suit, but he's not in military uniform, which I think is an important distinction for the character. And also, of course, he's in a cast, seemingly having a major injury to his arm. So the big question, of course, for us Marvel fans is like, whose funeral is this? And considering all of the people that are at this funeral, considering the fact that there are so many military people at this funeral, there are only a couple of options. In fact, three main options that I've seen people talking about. The first option is that this is actually the funeral for Thunderbolt Ross, that President Ross is actually going to be killed at some point in this movie, and it would make sense that his daughter would be at that funeral, that Sam Wilson would be at that funeral, and Sam Wilson's team. But frankly, that option is terrifying because Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk is something that Marvel fans are quite excited to see on the screen, and it would absolutely suck if he's just coming back for one freaking movie and he's gonna die in it. However, as some people have pointed out, it is technically possible that he's going to not really die, but maybe fake his own death to then go be traditional Red Hulk in the MCU, sort of working underground. So I definitely think that's possible. Now, another theory that a lot of fans have talked about is the fact that this could be the funeral for the president before Thunderbolt Ross. We already know that this guy is the current president in the MCU, but we also know that Thunderbolt Ross is going to become the president in Captain America New World Order. And so what we might be seeing in these set photos is a funeral for the death of a president. That would actually bring all of these key people together, especially if Thunderbolt Ross still had a high position in the military or the government. But the third Ford option would actually be the most intriguing, and a lot of people believe this will actually be the funeral for Steve Rogers, for Captain America. Now, in my mind, this would be something that would have already happened, and I almost think it was referenced in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Disney Plus show, but a lot of people told me it's never actually mentioned in the show. So it is technically possible that they are finally having some kind of a funeral for Captain America, and this could even be a way to establish Sam as the new Captain America. But again, I also feel like a lot of that was already done in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus show. So I kind of doubt that it would be Captain America. I'm personally leaning towards this being either for President Red Hulk or for the president that was of the MCU before that. But then just days later, we got new set photos of some key characters for this movie, and it includes Harrison Ford himself as Thunderbolt Ross. Now, these are just set photos grabbed up when Harrison Ford is walking from his trailer to whatever set he was going to, likely some indoor set, maybe even the Oval Office itself. So it doesn't give us a ton of context to what is going on, but it's just freaking surreal to see Harrison freaking Ford shooting on the set of a Marvel movie. This is going to be absolutely insane. And considering the suit and the outfit that he's wearing, this does seem to be from a part in the film where he's likely president or having conversations with people about being the president. It's freaking crazy, but I will say there's just one little thing missing, and it is his mustache. Oh my God, what are they thinking? I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm freaking out about this. They cannot do President Ross or Red Hulk Thunderbolt Ross without the mustache. Absolutely no freaking way, especially because it's already gonna be weird that it's just Harrison Ford coming in to be Thunderbolt Ross, but if they literally don't even put the mustache on him and it's just mustacheless Harrison Ford just looking at me in the camera on the big screen, acting like he's Thunderbolt Ross, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Like, I don't want to overstate things. I don't want to be too dramatic, but if they don't put a mustache on Thunderbolt Ross, you might as well pack it up, Marvel. The entire MCU is over. You have lost all credibility, and Secret Wars is going to bomb. So a lot hangs in the balance on there being a mustache on Harrison Ford. Now, as many people have pointed out to me online, it's likely nothing to panic about, as they're probably just going to do a CGI mustache on Harrison Ford, and hopefully that is the case. I just honestly can't imagine Red Hulk without a mustache. Moving right along, we have to talk about Tim Blake Nelson being spotted walking to a scene with some weird green stuff on his arm. And Tim Blake Nelson, of course, is in the original Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton and with Liv Tyler, and he's playing the leader, right? So he was the leader back in the day in that movie, but he kind of just gets the gamma radiation at the end of that film. And so it seems like he's reached some kind of stasis, right? He's not like mutating. He just has this green arm, or maybe the green arm is just for reference and they're going to CGI the rest of him to look green like that as well. It'll be cool to see what is actually done with the character, but either way, it's great to have him back as the leader. And Tim Blake Nelson as the leader is a long established rumor for this movie, way before all the new crazy stuff we've heard about Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts. Like, way before we even heard about Red Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross, we had heard about the leader. Okay, so let's get into the comments made by Jeff Snyder, because these came out after basically all the other parts of this video. I was breaking down a ton of stuff, which is still really pertinent, because nothing that Jeff Snyder said contradicts anything else that we heard about the movie. It, in fact, gives us even more details. And so the first big point that Jeff Snyder talks about is the fact that Val is in New World Order, and she's working with 5 other villains to form the Serpent Society. Now, we'd already talked about that in this video, the Serpent Society being involved in the show. I had speculated that maybe this is a group of villains that basically we're just going to get whooped up on by Sam Wilson and his team, but it appears now that no, they're going to be a big part of the movie, and that Val, who is of course the CIA operative, is working with the Serpent Society. Now, Jeff Snyder goes on to talk about how their main mission is to obtain a special metal that is not vibranium. This links up to the Tiamat Island business, and it's likely going to be the case that you're going to see the Serpent Society going to Tiamat Island to get the adamantium. Next up, Jeff Snyder talks about how Red Hulk is in the movie. We already know that. There's not a lot of context given there, so basically no real update there. But he finally mentions that the movie might tie to one or two of the X-Men. And this is really cool. Like, essentially, Jeff is just saying, yes, you're going to get a couple of ties to the X-Men in Captain America New World Order, and I think you're going to get more of those ties in the Thunderbolts movie. And a lot of us have speculated about this. This likely means the Weapon Plus program, connections to the Weapon Plus program or the Weapon X program in the creation of Wolverine. I mean, obviously the adamantium being there, that's the big connection, but you also have all of these discussions of super soldiers, different super soldier formulas, creating Hulk, Leader, maybe even other characters in the movie, maybe even the Serpent Society themselves. You're going to get a lot of super soldier type stuff going on here. And so I think it's going to obviously tie in to the Weapon Plus program. And for the record, this likely means the MCU 616 version of the X-Men. The X-Men are already out there. We've seen them in 838 via Charles Xavier. They're in all the Fox X-Men stuff and the 90s X-Men cartoon, which of course we're going to get X-Men 97 soon as well. But yes, 616 X-Men being developed, super cool stuff, and I love the idea of Val being in charge of the Serpent Society. So there you have it, guys. Explanations for the set photos and everything I know about what this movie is actually going to entail. I'm super curious as to what you think about it. I think it's going to be super cool. I'm excited for it, but I definitely want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like on this video, and if you want to watch more, why not check out this video I just did talking about some crazy reveals for Spider-Man 4 and Daredevil Born Again.